All right, folks, go ahead and turn the page. We just finished taking a look at what is the science fiction genre. Remember, you're going to use that in order to help answer your out question today. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at reviewing some vocabulary terms, but we're not going to spend a whole lot of time reviewing because truth be told, you guys know these terms in and out. You shouldn't be looking at that and going, what's theme? What's evidence? You just even know. But we are going to just take a moment, highlight the info that you need. So in case you need a reference or you just want a refresher, there it is. All right, so the info that you need. What's theme? Okay, theme, it's the central message of the story. It's revealed when you can understand what is the conflict and the resolution to that conflict. Okay, the second term that pops up there is characterization. You guys focused on that so much in 7th grade. Okay, characterization is how characters are made. They're developed by their description, their action, and their dialogue. Okay, now there is a side note about the antagonist, but we're just going to drag that over to our literary terms box. You folks know the protagonist is the main character. The antagonist is essentially the opposite of the protagonist. But you folks may know the antagonist is something else versus the term that's given to us. So what do you folks know the antagonist as, generally speaking?
Like a villain?
Yeah, the villain, the bad guy. That's not anything we have to worry about. Okay, and the last little term, again, this is something that you guys know. You shouldn't go, I have no idea. Evidence. How many times do we talk about cite your textual evidence to prove your point? Okay, you guys know what this word is. Evidence. It's your analysis of different things. So how are you analyzing the character? How are you analyzing the theme? All of that info. Okay, we're also going to skip for today this before reading piece. This isn't really going to help us out at all. It's not really worth our time. So if you look at all that stuff, we get to skip. But that's going to bring us to our next step, which is step number 3. All right? So I'm going to drag this image up a little bit so we have more room to write. Can you please read number 3 for us? Go ahead, Noah. Okay, so this is going to be our secondary review of what in the world you guys had to read yesterday with the giver. So you read 2 chapters, 1 and 2. And what we're really focusing in on is who was the protagonist and how can we prove that, as well as what was the setting. How can we prove that? So let's go ahead and start off number 1 with the protagonist. Who's the protagonist of the story? Who is the main character? Okay, Jonas. We know it's Jonas. Does Jonas have a last name that we know of at the moment?
No.
Not yet. We don't know if he has a last name. But what would be our evidence to prove that Jonas is our main character? What's some evidence? Carly? Okay, his name appears frequently. What else might be some evidence to prove that point?
He was like the first actual person to be mentioned in the story.
Okay. He's the first character introduced. And I'm having to write big so you guys can read that. And I'm going to give you a third piece. And I want to see if light bulbs start clicking in your head and you're able to make a connection here. What's POV? Okay, it's the point of view. How is the point of view of our story helping us understand that Jonas is the main character? How's the point of view helping us out, Fernando? Okay, Jonas is saying, not Jonas, sorry, Fernando is saying it's coming from his perspective only. How do we know that? He's on the right track. It's not Jonas who's talking, it's a narrator. But how do we know that it's only about his perspective? How do we know it's really about his perspective, Madeline?
Because it says the first page of each chapter, this is God.
Yeah, we have a lot of he, him, his, and it's all referring to Jonas specifically. Really good. Okay, now let's talk about the setting. Okay, we know right off the bat, we don't know exactly where this story is taking place. We don't know exactly where the story is taking place. Wow, that took a while. We don't know specifically a state, a city, a town. But what it says in parentheses, the description of the society or the way of life. Okay, how is this society odd? What's some info that we find out that really makes the setting, the society, unique? Not like what modern day is like. What's something that, Matt?
They have age groups.
Okay, they have something called age groups. Well, that's definitely interesting. What else is kind of different about this society compared to modern day?
Not choosing your job.
One more time?
Not choosing your job.
You're not choosing a job, it's given to you. It's assigned. What might be something else that's unique? That's it? Okay.
No war.
And I'm just going to add between citizens. Let's come up with one more element about the society that's just a little bit off base. You can be released from the community. Now, if you don't know the background of this story, we don't really know what released means. If you've read the story, you know what it means, but I don't want you guys explaining that if you have read the story. Okay? So, we're going to now move on to our next step. And our next step has to do with that vocabulary handout that you folks got.